Well, hello. Good evening, everybody. Raf, technicantica.com. Now, lately I've been publishing shorts. I believe shorts are a bit of a more sort of concentrated pills. No magic pills, because as Beethoven there says, there are no magic pills in singing. Now, today I wanted to talk a bit about the baritone voice, the baritone. Now, why haven't I addressed these before? And I'll try to be brief, because I'm just trying to analyze how this sort of YouTube thing works, and long videos do not cut it. So I'll try to be less of a priest and more of a pragmatic. So the characteristics of the baritone voice, and of course in the Fach system we have many sort of categories, but I'll try to be very vague or very sort of general. The vast majority of male population, right, so of men, are baritones. So we would say that the exceptional voices, so to speak, or anomalies would be the tenor and the bass. So what's the main difference between anatomically, right, a baritone and a tenor? Basically, it's just, I would say the bass as well, but it's actually the size of the larynx to begin with. Thus, the bigger the larynx, the bigger, thicker, longer the vocal folds. Thus, the deeper the tone. So with that in mind, obviously anatomically, in terms of rib cage and body mass, etc., well, that's very, it varies from individual to individual. But there are certain characteristics of the baritone voice which, by the way, I love, that should be there to begin with. The baritone voice is a very sort of masculine voice. Only the speaking voice suggests this sort of masculinity, so many people in the theater, and also obviously any sort of musical gender, they would certainly say that the baritone has this masculine sort of touch to it, and it's more of a seductive voice. So with that in mind, again, what I think is lacking nowadays a little bit is that the position of their voice is getting a bit higher, and they lose the old-fashioned, traditional, round, masculine sort of voice, okay, which is very seductive. Perhaps I haven't done a video about the baritone voice because, say, I cannot really impersonate truly a baritone, because I am not a baritone. I am a tenor. And when I will illustrate the passaggio, or the cover notes for the baritone, it will sound artificial, and perhaps my lower register will sound also slightly artificial. So I mean, usually, so this would be my low C, and it can sound ever so slightly baritonal. So a baritone should definitely have this like so this F has to be present in the baritone voice, not only bass baritone, a baritone. Now, this particular note, if I sang it in a theater, I very much doubt that it would carry. It wouldn't have that much power. And although I'm recording with a very simple microphone here, it doesn't do the job. I have it, and I'm very proud of it. I could even, with a little vocal fry, go even lower. that would be pure vocal fry, and to be honest, I do not have it today, so to speak. But let's say that, yeah, this is my low C, and that sort of meat has to be present throughout the entire baritone voice. If a baritone starts to sort of open way too much, the voice loses really its purpose. And why do I say this? Because the tenor, and this is why I'm talking about the difference between the baritone and the tenor. The tenor will have to open at some point to access, that as Miller says, the secondo passaggio, the second passage around middle C. La, that cannot be a very dark note, because otherwise, by the time you go to F sharp, F sharp, it would be, if you, when you want to go, there's nowhere to go. But the baritone, because again, the size of the larynx, etc., is a more round, meaty voice sound. Okay, so as with every voice, I would try to go open as high as I can, which means in the voice of the baritone, if you can really go open, even up to a G, which is kind of yelling, screaming, but it's just for like training purposes. I would suggest you do it. It's not gonna sound bianco, so bianco means that it has no support. But if you're able to sing an open G, obviously covering on a D or on an E, it's gonna be much easier, right? So to set an example, a tenor would cover around F sharp, F sharp. So in this case, like, it would be la. So that's that last note would be the cover if I were a baritone. So basically, I would take it to a flat, E flat, la. So that one, that would be the cover for a baritone. And then what happens that the baritone would continue cover. See there, but then A flat, A. If you can reach a B flat, you know what I mean? So everything is usually a third below the tenor, but it's very important to my mind to maintain that the roundness of the voice. Of course, then we have interpretation and repertoire and all that. But so the technique, the principles of the technique are the same. We just have to keep in mind the characteristics of the voice, and then obviously the different categories of baritones we're going to find same as with tenors. But I just wanted to make an introductory video about the baritone, because actually it's the most common voice, and competition is fierce, right? It's like, if the competition is fierce in every fach, actually the baritone is it's gonna be a bit more, I think. Beethoven agrees. So okay, that's all for today. A very brief video. I will develop this subject further, but in the meantime, just enjoy and have fun, with that famous passage. Giovilar mi fa, giovilar me fa. If you can insert an A right in there, don't just confirm yourself with the F sharp. Okay, have fun. Bye bye. See you soon.